Hey parents, Carmine here with your video review of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
Roger that. All scores, engage the next destroyer.
Okay, I need to be frank with you all for a moment. I play Call of Duty for the single player. I know, it's 2016, who even does that anymore? Well, if the Xbox achievements have anything to say about it, only 6% of people who play Infinite Warfare have completed the first mission of the campaign, only 3% of players have completed the final mission, and only 1% of players have completed all of the optional missions. I am in that 1% every year. And because of that, I really like the Call of Duties like Advanced Warfare and absolutely despise the ones like Black Ops 3. Now, I had very low expectations for Infinite Warfare, but I'm extremely surprised and actually genuinely happy to say that this is the best Call of Duty campaign I've played since at least Modern Warfare 2. It's not perfect, don't get me wrong, but the combination of classic Call of Duty infantry combat and the new space fighter combat gave it more than enough variety to not only keep my attention, but make for some genuinely entertaining moments. If you happen to pick up this game, please take the time to give the campaign a shot. It was very clearly one of the things the developers spent the most time on. So I know if it were me, I'd be pretty depressed to find out that less than 10% of my player base even tried it out. As for the multiplayer, it felt a lot like Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer. The Black Ops multiplayers, in contrast, tend to be extremely fast-paced and punishing. If you make a mistake, you're dead, so get good or get wrecked. Infinite Warfare's multiplayer felt much less punishing, and while there's a sizable list of problems I had with it, problems that haven't been solved since Modern Warfare 2, it's the kind of multiplayer that I'm most familiar with, and that gets me involved. But I think that's where the greatest discrepancy will be. Infinite Warfare stumbled right out of the blocks with deciding to go with that science fiction future combat, and with that strange and disappointing reveal trailer. Next to the masterpiece of a trailer that Battlefield 1 released on reveal, Infinite Warfare's looked pretty amateurish. But I believe that behind Infinite Warfare's poor choice in name and poor choice in reveal content, beneath that stale and vague exterior is a great but flawed idea. I believe that Infinite Warfare was made for me and gamers like me. I believe that Infinite Warfare was made for the previous generation of shooter fans, the fans who faithfully played Call of Duty from the first one all the way through Modern Warfare 3, the fans who thought that the first Modern Warfare was and is the best Call of Duty game ever made. I believe that this is why they timed the release of the remastered Modern Warfare with this game. But while I might sing this game's praises from the mountaintops, I know that it's a very cold, lonely mountain. I know that the fans like me have either grown up and don't play games anymore, or have given up on Call of Duty years ago. So while the selfish side of me wants every Call of Duty game to be like Infinite Warfare, I realize that that's an impossible dream. But enough with the monologuing, let's get on to the real content. As this is a Call of Duty game, violence is the most prominent factor. With rare exceptions, the violence in this game seemed on par with Advanced Warfare, so if you're looking for a Call of Duty to compare this to, I'd start there. Hits from all weapons result in some blood, but as usual, its impact reduces exponentially as the player hits targets that are farther away. If you're only looking for a review of the multiplayer, excluding the campaign and zombies mode, you can pretty much stop here and skip to the end. The multiplayer has no gore that I found and no other mature content. Now, the campaign did have some more violent moments, like at the beginning where one character had his head smashed by a robot, or when the player used a knife to stab enemies up close in the stealth sections. But these were anomalous, and a good portion of the combat was ship-to-ship space battles that had no blood or gore at all. The only time when I found the gore to be a somewhat significant factor is when I equipped some of the high-powered weapons, such as the Gatling cannon thing that I can't really remember its name because it's probably some incoherent acronym. Human enemies killed with this weapon will explode into blood in chunks. And while the player can carry this weapon into any mission after unlocking it, it runs out of ammunition fairly quickly and can't be refilled in the normal ammunition stores, so I only picked it up when prompted through the campaign, which wasn't very often. As always though, the zombies mode is at the opposite end of the spectrum from the multiplayer. The zombies don't seem to lose their limbs as often in Infinite Warfare as they did in Black Ops 3, but headshots will often cause the zombies' head to explode into bits. The clowns also explode when killed or if they get close to the player. It's not extremely graphic, but between zombies, campaign, and multiplayer, zombies is definitely the most graphic out of the three.
Get away, Admiral.
Sato forces are trenched in outside setting up a fob.
Good. Let's get a look at this son of a bitch.
Language is a mostly minor factor in the campaign. It's not so bad that I would hesitate to play it around young children, but it is something to keep in mind. As for zombies, there might have been language, but the characters didn't talk enough for me to pick up on any of it. I don't agree with every decision that the developers made with Infinite Warfare, but overall I found it to be a much more satisfying game as a whole, especially compared to Black Ops 3. Unfortunately, that seems to be the minority opinion right now, so keep that in mind before you jump on this game, especially if you only play Call of Duty for the multiplayer. As a result of the violence in all 3 sections of the game combined, we gave this game a recommended age of 16 years old. However, if you're only concerned about the multiplayer, I'd consider this closer to a 14 or maybe a 12. If you're hoping for a review or discussion of the Modern Warfare Remastered, I'm going to be reserving that for a later video. The copy of Infinite Warfare that I used for this review didn't include the Modern Warfare Remastered. November's game poll is still up on Patreon, and we have a tie right now, so click on the link in the description if you want to vote in that. As we approach the holidays, I'm working on a list of games I'd recommend picking up or giving as gifts, so keep an eye out for that coming soon.